Hello, everyone. This is Stacy. Welcome to the landing. Welcome back to the landing and to part 2 of our conversation with Heber Guthrie. If you joined us for the first episode, you already know why Heber's voice is one folks listen for. His stories carry the tides, the heritage, and the heartbeat of Down East. In today's continuation, Heber goes even deeper into the traditions that shaped his life on the water and the lessons passed down through generations, from Cape Lookout memories to boat building, to the rhythms of family and community. He reminds us how important it is to hold on to the things that made us who we are and to share them with others. Settle in as we pick up right where we left off. Here's part 2 of our interview with Heber Guthrie.
2019, my friend James Dixon, which has passed away now, we were to his Bob Inspangler's viewing of all things.
Oh, wow.
He had passed away.
Mm-hmm.
It was in the spring, and I said, James, I hear you working on the ferry. He said, yeah. I said, well, I need something to do this summer. Of course, I was driving a school bus at the time.
I didn't know you drove a school bus.
I drove a bus 7 years to East Carteret.
I believe I could say anything, and you'll say, yeah, I've done that.
Well,
pretty much.
But anyway, that's another story.
Yeah, I bet so.
So he said, well, go to the ticket booth down here at Shell Point and get your application. Mm-hmm. So I did, just one sheet, real simple, and I had CDL license in, of course, at the bus. So I think that helped me get the job. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so I met with the owner, George, the Morehead City, their offices there then. And now he's from New York, and I'm from here. Mm-hmm. So we talked about 5 or 6 minutes, and George said, Heber, I've not understood one word you said.
It's like you're speaking a foreign language.
I said, George, I've not understood you. I said, I want you to understand this. Have I got this job? He said, just shook his head. I said, okay, when you want me to be to work?
I love it.
But anyway, he always kids me about the way we talk here. So anyway, it turns out he needed a driver, which we do tours out there to the Cape. Mm-hmm. We go through the village, and then we go out to Cape Point, drop people off, and of course they give us a time, we pick them up. Right. So that started in 2019.
Oh, wow, okay. Yeah.
And so, of course, my wife Diane had lung cancer that same year, before 2020. So she passed away in March, and him and Pat came to the funeral, and he looked at me and said, what are you going to do this summer? I said, George, I don't know what to do right now. He said, well, come back to work.
Wow.
And in a way, he saved my life. But anyway.
We talk about God puts people in your lives when you need them. Yeah. That's what that sounds like to me.
Just at the right time.
Yes. Yeah.
Perfect. And so at first, I had to get used to things, and I have been to the Cape a lot. Not as much as people on this end of the island, because where we live, it was far away. Right. Our boats were slow, and our boats were wet.
Right. Because when we went to the Cape, like when I was little, because we've come around this end. But you were in the middle of the island.
Yep, we were further up.
Yeah.
And it was rough.
Yeah.
Down the channel, and the wind's always to southwest in the summer months, so it always got wet. Yes. So we didn't go there a lot. Yeah. Now later on, I got a bigger boat, and we went there, trolling and stuff like that. But I didn't know a lot of stuff about the lighthouse.
Well, you made up for it, kind sir.
I didn't know a lot of stuff about the lighthouse. But in my job, I drove by that lighthouse 20 times every day. Mm-hmm. We made 10 round trips every day.
Wow.
And the more I looked at it and saw things, and why is this like that, and why is that there? Mm-hmm. And so I kind of did my own little investigation
And where did you turn for answers? Because you are like an encyclopedia about the lighthouse. So where have you learned all of this?
Well, of course, you can read a lot of stuff, but a lot of it is if you, of course, when you're young, you won't listen to old people. You want, we used to visit all the daddy's aunts and uncles on Sundays, and I was about 7 or 8 years old, and I didn't want to be there.
Right.
But I was foolish then.
Right. Wish you had.
But they had some knowledge than people did, about that stuff.
Yeah. Daddy says that all the time. He wishes.
Because my uncle, or great uncle Odell Guthrie, he was in the life saving tank. He worked there. He was in the Coast Guard. So look at all the stuff he experienced.
Yeah. And we didn't have enough sense when we were little to ask questions.
Yeah. So anyway, now the Coast Guard station, I believe Reznor was our neighbor, Reznor Lewis, Madeline. That was McKinley Lewis's son. Great, one of our fishermen. I tell everybody, I said the east end of the island had their great fishermen, and the west end did too.
Yes.
I mean, y'all had Howard Gaskell and all that Gaskell generation, and to the west we had the Lewises. Yeah. We had the Lewis generation, knew how to fish. And Telford, Willis. Yeah. His story. Oh, so we had fishermen up there too. So anyway.
For sure.
But the Coast Guard station, and I believe it was 1961, I was 10 years old. I believe Reznor was the chief over there. Then they came here and docked to Shell Point. Miss Harker's, the lodge was there. Right. There's a basin there. So the Coast Guard had a dock there. They would come. They had to get groceries, change shifts. The boat came right here. It was a 30-footer.
Wow. Okay.
One thing I learned from Reznor about Coast Guard boats, the first numbers is the length of the boat.
Okay.
Yep. So if you see a 3-0 and the rest of it, well, she's 30 foot.
Wow. That's neat.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now the bigger ones, there's going to be a bigger number.
Yeah.
So when you see her, you look at those numbers, that tells the length of the boat.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, they had a 30-footer. It had one 671 diesel in it. And that boat was probably around 25, well, that 25 mile an hour. Well, that's fast around here for a boat. So everybody wanted to ride on the Coast Guard cutter. We called it the Coast Guard cutter. Coast Guard. But anyway, Reznor would take us over there. And of course, young boys, we want to get as high as we can. So we want to be in the very top of that tower. And we go up there, and I loved binoculars when I was a kid. And we would look out, over the ocean. And one day, Reznor said, he said, he called his son, we called him Butch. He said, you and Butch look over the ocean and let us know if you see anybody in distress. Now, you know how big that made us feel?
Wow.
Yep.
Wow, what a responsibility.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, right now it's under renovation.
Yes.
The station is.
Yes.
And I told some of the workers, I said, when you get that tower, so somebody go up there, let me know. Or the last time I was up there, I was in 1961. Which your dad was stationed over there, right?
Yes, he's told me.
And a lot of the local boys.
Told me lots of interesting stories about it. He was talking about coming to get groceries. He's had stories where, he would be the runner that time and then would come. And, So neat, but yeah.
Now, the Coast Guard station, of course, the gun mats are gone, or I say they're gone, they're in the ocean.
Right.
And I remember we used to go down there and play in them. And one time we couldn't get in them for sand. They had almost covered with sand.
Ooh, times have changed.
And now I think it started about 1980. The erosion got to them and they've rolled over. And of course now they're probably 100 yards in the ocean.
Yeah.
Sometimes low tide, you can see the top of them.
Oh, wow.
You start out, yeah.
Wow. Now,
so anyway, as I would go through the village, people back then, David Youmans had a camp. The Davis cried up here. Keith and Annette, matter of fact, they had Odell's, my great uncle's place, and all back in there was camps. It was busy. People stayed there weekends. They had 3-wheelers were popular back then. The Hondas, big reds, they were popular. They got around good in them, and so it was a bustling place. But there has been serious accidents over there too.
Yeah.
Sandy Balloon, he had a daughter named Sandra, was my age. He got killed in an airplane over there.
Oh, wow.
They had a little ice strip on the beach.
Didn't know that.
And one day, it's a saying, don't fly low, slow. I'm not no pilot, but I've always. So anyway, when he took off, he was going too slow, and she stalled, and she fell.
Oh, wow.
Of course, Jack Rogers got killed over there in a Jeep. I think it was 69, somewhere right in there, 68, 69. And then Joe Beasley was stationed there, and he told me a boy got killed. The garage door fell on him.
Oh, me.
The big garage door.
Yeah.
And then I think a guy got killed going down the drain. They hit something one night. So there's been serious stuff happen over there during the Coast Guard era. Of course, it was decommissioned in 1983. I believe it was 1983.
Wow, that was later than I thought. Wow.
Yeah, it was decommissioned. And I know how people felt on the island because we all relied on the Coast Guard.
Right.
Anything happened in that sign, you just wave your hand or wipe something, and they would come.
Because they were right there.
They were right there. And of course, now it's the Fort Macon. And of course, now that service is done privately. Boats are towboat, all that is done by private companies now. But it was nothing like seeing the Coast Guard, the 30-footer coming to your rescue.
For sure.
Yep.
Now, you know a lot about also the actual Cape Lookout Lighthouse, like the history of that. Can you share a little bit of that?
Like I said, riding by it, I got, of course, we could climb it. You could climb it until 2020. It got closed all kind of COVID. But prior to that, a lot of people would climb. I think I climbed it like 3 times, the lighthouse.
I've never climbed it.
Well, maybe in 3 years.
I hope
That's what they're telling us.
That's what I hope.
The very first lighthouse, of course, is not there, but it was built between the years of 1804 and 1812. It was only about 97 feet high. Let's say 100 feet high. And really, it was not built not very far from the one we have now. There's a mound, a sand dune, there's some debris there, and that's where that regional lighthouse was sitting. It had red and white horizontal stripes. It was optical shape, so it helped the wind get around it. And I believe I read it has like shingle type material on it, on the outside of it, to waterproof it. The big issue was the top. The lights on the top were just candles.
Oh, wow.
And they did have some type of reflecting glass that's supposed to make it larger, but it really didn't work that well. But it was there for 47 years.
Wow.
Long time.
Yeah.
So then in 1857, the Lighthouse Bureau decided to replace it. And the one you see now is a prototype. That would be the first one of that style lighthouse to be built in North Carolina. If you look at that one, Body Island, now here we say, up there they say Body, here we won't say Bodie.
Yeah.
But they tell me up there is Body.
Yeah.
Body and Currituck are very similar if you look at the height and diameter of this one. The first lighthouse, I think, like $20,000. The second one, like $42,000 to build it.
Wow.
They built it less than 2 years.
That's amazing.
This one here.
Wow.
So if you look at the height of it, they had to average about 4 foot a day height.
Wow.
To get to the top. It's 165 feet high. It's 28.5 feet diameter to the base and about 14.5 to the top.
Wow. The
walls are 9 feet thick at the base, but it does have a cavity. If you look at the diagram, it does have a cavity, and we've read that they filled it with washed sand. I don't know. Anyway, so it does have a cavity in there. And my friend James Dixon used to tell me, he said, "Do you tell people a man fell in the lighthouse when they built it?" I said, "I can't tell the public stuff like that." He said, "Well, it's the truth." He said, "Well, it's the truth." I said, "Well, James, I never heard that." He said, "Well, my all that." He said, "We always heard a man fell in there." And I said, "Well, you know, if they were high up, just about finished, they could not have got him out there."
Wow. I've never heard
that. They couldn't have
that.
got him out there unless if they knew exactly where he was. But to break through 9 feet of bricks, that will weaken the lighthouse.
The whole structure, yeah. Is that
so
true?
You might not, that's what.
Wow. You heard it here, folks.
But anyway.
Wow.
A lot of stories. I've never stayed in the keeper's quarters. I want to, maybe this year. But got friends, they do that.
So there is a room there to stay?
The keeper's quarters is there.
Upstairs?
That might be the third one. A lot of people say it's the original. No, it's not the original one.
Mm-mm.
That was built in 1873.
Mm-hmm.
All right, lighthouse was finished in 1859.
Oh, wow.
It can't be the original one.
No.
But the odd thing about it, the bricks that built the keeper's quarters was left over from when they built Bayou Island Lighthouse.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, that's neat.
So that was built in 1872.
So again, it couldn't have been the original.
They had a year. They just took them bricks.
Wow.
And built the keeper's quarters there now. Families lived. 2 families lived in that keeper's quarters. It got 2 decks, upper and lower.
Yeah.
So 2 families. At one time, we had a keeper and 2 assistants to maintain the lighthouse.
Okay.
Of course, in 1950, it was automated. You know, we had power over there, generators. The Coast Guard has always owned and maintained the lighthouse until it was transferred over to the Park Service. Okay. They still maintain the light, though.
The Coast Guard does?
Yeah, they still have the responsibility of the light working.
Daddy has told me stories again of doing that, having to check the light, clean the light, do all the things.
Now, the first light in it was what they call a Fresnel lens, and it was made over in Europe, and it was brought here and put in the lighthouse. And basically what it is a huge globe that's got little tiny glass prisms around it. So what happens is it takes a little tiny light, and what it does, it distorts that light, so all that globe will light up when the light comes on. Okay. Now, it didn't flash, though. So now we have a flashing pattern on this one. The one we have now is an LED light. It is solar powered. Okay. You know, and everybody got upset about when they took the what they call the aerial beacon that went in a circle. Yeah. Yeah. But that was because the power cable, the shoreline that went under the water got damaged, so they couldn't have it. Just wouldn't work anymore.
Right. And it's not
they converted to solar.
As bright. It's different.
No, it's not. It's more like a beacon.
Yeah, but it makes more sense.
Yeah. Now, something very important. By 1873, this lighthouse had no color, just red bricks. So they didn't have diamonds on it until 1873. Wow. And what happened was mariners complained because we just went by a red lighthouse. Here's another one. Here's another one. Where are we at?
We need to know where we are.
We need to know. So they came out with that in 1873.
Well, I'm glad because it's beautiful.
Yep. I don't know any other one that's got diamonds on it.
Maybe I'm biased, Heber, but it's the prettiest one to me.
Yeah, it is. It is.
But definitely you could tell when you see it, that's Cape Lookout.
Now, the diamonds are very important. Maybe it was because the shoals are due south, but anyway, the black diamonds face north and south. And the white diamonds are east and west.
Wow. Interesting.
So if you think about back then, no GPS, no way to talk. Everything was done by eyesight. Yeah. So they did it with colors.
So that was important.
The colors meant a hazard. And of course the hazard was the shoals. Yes. So if you're offshore headed north, you're going to run into shoals. Wow. Or they're due south of the lighthouse. Pretty simple. Right. And then again, you look at the dark is shoaly. Well, north is shoaly. Well, this is here. Yes. You got the sign. Yeah. So you got shoals on each end of the lighthouse, north of the black. Now, east and west, of course, you got ocean on the east side and the west side. You know.
Well, that's interesting. Wow.
You know. The year it was built, it was the second tallest lighthouse in the United States.
Oh, wow.
We do have almost 1,000 in operation in our country right now.
1,000.
And believe it or not, I question people, what state has the most lighthouses? And a lot of people say Florida, because miles and miles of coast, but it's really Michigan.
Michigan, really?
Michigan, because of the Great Lakes.
Well,
they have about 139 lighthouses. Yeah. Because of the Great Lakes. Now, when they did our lighthouses along the coast, they wanted them close enough you could see one. When you lost sight of one, you could pick up the other one. But because geographically how we're shaped, it was just hard to do. Yeah. Because it's in and out. It's hard to make it do that way. Yep. Yeah. I'm sitting here looking at these bricks in the fireplace. And it's not quite like the lighthouse is built.
No.
But it is similar. But the lighthouse is, when they built the lighthouse, is what they call the English bond. And all of our lighthouses up and down our coast is built that very same way. Of course, Oak Island is a tower.
Right.
And Bald Head Island is not shaped like our lighthouses, but this one, Currituck, even Ocracoke. I got some friends took some pictures inside the Ocracoke, same type construction. What they do, a course of brick, of course, is longitudinal.
Okay.
And when you're looking at brick right now, what you're looking at is what they call a stretcher. All right, bricks, if you think about one brick, it has to be made the correct dimension, so no matter how you turn it or place it, another brick just like it will fit on it.
Okay.
So if you got the stretcher, and you see these ones just turn like this,
yeah,
in that curve,
vertical,
they're called soldiers.
Okay.
All right. So you should be able to take 3 soldiers and will sit on top equally on that stretcher brick.
So the soldiers are vertical.
Yep.
And the stretchers are horizontal.
Yep.
Okay. Wow.
All right.
Okay. Yeah.
And this is a good example where you can use the soldiers, especially making an arch.
Yes.
In your forts, Fort Macomb. There is some in the lighthouse. I think it's up top, but you don't see it from the outside. But that's how they do. Okay. And one day I had the kids to Smyrna. I teach out there the second semester, and we was talking about bricks and stuff one day. And we walked outside the school, and Smyrna, I think she's got 3 arches. And I said, guess what, kids? When you come to school, and you walk in that door, if you look over your head, you walk right under soldiers. Wow. That's how they make their arch.
That's how they make it.
So the lighthouse, what they did, they went 5 courses. Now that's 5 rows, we'll call it rows. Okay. From the base, they went 5, and then the next brick you see is actually turned like this. Okay. So you just see the end of it.
The end, the narrow end.
Yep, you see the end of it. Well, 2 of the ends will fit on that length. Okay. And that's called a header. So what that's telling us, right behind that brick that we see is another wall. And that brick, that header sits right on top of that next wall.
Okay, because it's thicker, so it will hold that brick.
You've got 2 like this, and that same brick does just like this and lays right on top of it.
That's neat. Now I've got to go over there and look.
And that goes, very easy to see.
Yeah.
And goes, of course, it goes on up. Now I say it goes on up about the highest wind up. Instead of 5 courses, it gets to 3 courses. Okay. So your walls are getting a little bit thinner now. They're not way out here. You're coming like this to the top. Right. Because your stairwell is plumb. That's not has no degrees in that. That should be straight up and down. Right. But the outer side wall does pitch in about 2.5 degrees. Wow. Okay. So that's how the lighthouse was built. It's called the English bomb. And I read it was the strongest way to build a wall. That's neat. Now they didn't have no rebar. They didn't have modern stuff like we have now. Right. Lintels is on top of the windows. Well, nowadays they use an I-beam or a L-beam to hold that weight. If you go over there, it's just cement.
Wow, and think how many storms and high winds.
They made it out of cement.
That has.
That big whole linear about this thick.
Wow, and that's withstood it all.
And if you think about windows in it, of course, they are where there's a landing. As you climb up, it gives you a place to stop and rest. And I tell people, you stop there, you got plenty of time to take your Tylenol or your nitroglycerin pill or anything you need to finish your trip to the top. It's 207 steps to the top, but coming down is only about 150 because you're in a hurry. You come down faster than you go up.
Oh, for sure.
Either way.
Wow.
The lighthouse, the Confederate Army actually tried to destroy it. Not the Union, but the Confederate really tried to destroy it during the Civil War.
Oh, wow.
In 1861, North Carolina joined the Confederacy. And so they removed that beautiful Fresnel lens out of there. All the lighthouses we had, they took them all out.
Trying to make things dark?
Right. Didn't want no lights to be on the shoreline. As a matter of fact, the Civil War and World War II, these are the only 2 times it has been cut off on purpose.
Wow.
They didn't want Germans to see us during the wartime.
So it had to be dark.
So about a year later, the Union did capture these islands, and they put their own light up there. And I've read where some of the Confederate boys decided let's blow up the lighthouse.
Wow.
So they got inside. They set a charge inside to the base, and it did go off. I think it damaged a little bit of the stairwell, but it stood right there.
Wow.
So it even has withstood an explosion.
Wow, that's amazing.
So
that's amazing.
But that original light, we have been told, is to Block Island, New York, on display. That Fresnel lens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's up there.
Oh, that's
so it's not
neat.
been destroyed, which is good.
That's neat.
Wow.
Yeah.
Of course, now it's under renovation. The
Mhm.
lighthouse. We've been
Mhm.
told about 3 years. The paint has to be removed,
Mhm.
and several things they're going to do to make it so we can climb it and use it, and that's what needs to be done. Get it all done, and give it back to us,
Yes.
and we'll be happy to use it.
Yes, for sure. Oh
We'll
my
be happy to
goodness.
use the lighthouse.
Yep.
Now, 3 years ago, I mentioned to one of our employees out here, where he works for the Park Service, John Eagle. He lives on the Harkers. I mean, Glenn Eagle. He lives on Harkers Island. About uniforms.
Mhm.
I said, Glenn, wouldn't it be nice if somebody's over here had a uniform on, could meet the public? It'd be like
Right.
old times when they come.
Yep.
He said, well, they got uniforms right down in the Park Service building. He said, go talk to Nate. I knew Nate. He's over volunteers. So I went and saw Nate about the uniform. He said, yeah, they're right back right there in the closet. So they were covered, nice, real pretty navy blue. So I pulled out a coat. I was worried about coats. The first coat I went on the sleeve came just about right here.
About halfway up your arm.
That ain't gonna work. I pulled another one out. It went a little bit further. And the third one, I said, boy, this thing's just right. What about pants? Put the pants on. Well, it turns out they belong to Richard Meisner. Who's a volunteer. He bought the uniform. They wore it over there several times. And he lived on the island up to the west end. And he moved down to Georgia, I think, with his son. He was here about 2 weeks ago when they had the Portsmouth Island thing. He was here.
Right.
And I went to see him. I couldn't get here. So anyway, I borrowed it. And I don't think they intended me to have it 3 years. But I've got it. And we do, whatever you want to call it, little geese. Me and Chris, been to several schools. We went to the library to Swansboro last week.
Yes.
Did a little presentation. I do it out to the schools.
Uh-huh.
The kids, get to see the uniform, get to talk about Lighthouse and stuff like that. And Jeff West, he's not the superintendent anymore. He said, as long as he said, that's doing more good, what you're doing with it, than it would be hanging in that closet.
Without a doubt, yes.
So that's what we're doing.
I love it.
And I think we've got something going out here Friday coming, next Friday with a school group.
Yeah, I love it.
We're going to do some stuff with it.
Well, now, Heber, I could talk to you on, and there's still some topics that we haven't covered. So, do you know what that means? That you're going to have to come back. So, does that mean that today we need to start planning that in 2 years from now you're going to come back?
No, believe it or not, our last truck is the 7th of December.
Okay,
so
maybe
I'll be done with the Cape.
So maybe we could catch you then.
If you do it on weekends.
If we do it on weekends, that will be us for sure.
But it's not been no problem. We
love
just do
it.
3 days. So I just told the driver, "You driving me today? I'll fill in for you." So
well, we appreciate you so much.
Yeah.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention your family. I loved your wife. My gracious, wasn't she special? And your son, Clifford, was younger than me. Loved him too. But your daughter, Meredith, I love Meredith.
Yeah.
She was my sidekick, and we did a whole lot of mischief and laughed a lot. So I laughed a lot, still do. But you're blessed. Your family and your roots, they run deep here on this island. Yeah. Well, I know that they're proud of you.
I'll say this. It's weird when they moved from Shackler Banks and came here. If you look at how the families, even now, what's left, the families settled just like they did over there.
Yep, in their areas.
The Guthrie generation was right there. The cousins right on down.
For sure.
Right there. Right. Stay neighbors.
Yep. Yep.
Just like they leave right over there.
Just like there.
I'm sure they did right over there.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, folks. He's going to come back because we still have topics to talk about. And I love you.
I love you too.
And
I'm sorry we took so long, but anyway,
no.
It's been well worth it.
No, this has been perfect. And thank you for all you do to preserve our history and our stories. Yep. All right. Well, have a good day. Thank you again for joining us to The Landing. This podcast is brought to you by the Core Sound Waterfowl Museum and Heritage Center. I am your host, Stacy Davis Baisden, and today's podcast was produced by April Davidson. Tune in next week as we continue learning, sharing, and remembering together. If you'd like to hear more, check out our previous episodes where you get your podcasts. Until then, stay safe and be kind.